And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. It is a Hump Day Wednesday, January 25th of 2023, presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. If you love to drink, you found the right show for that. Bangtail Whiskey out there, bangtail.com, or you can check them out, easyliquor.com. Is there now a Total Wine in Nashville, too? Get your drink on responsibly with Bangtail Whiskey. It is some great whiskey out there, and I would not lead you wrong, too, because I try all the products here on my show before I talk about them. Other sponsor just came on board there a couple of days ago, Gentle Ben Spirits. If you're looking for one of the best in vodka, bourbon, and gin out of Alvin, Texas, gentleben.com. Let me tell you something, folks. They're removing all the impurities from the drink and making it a smooth vodka, a smooth gin, and a smooth bourbon. They won an Ascot Award for their bourbon just a couple of years ago, which is one of the top awards in that industry. So feel free, check them out at gentleben.com. And our friends at Honky Tonk Texas, all presenting sponsors of CRS 2023 in Nashville, Tennessee, March 13 to 15 at the Omni Hotel. We'll be broadcasting live there. Myself, Kirsty Krause, and CJ Garton, all there at the Omni at Country Radio Seminar 2023. Speaking of that, we met her at CRS last year. Had to have her back again. She's got her EP out called Back to Me, which has been out since last May. She's been cooking with gas out there too, and of course drinking. She loves whiskey and bourbon and gin. Our good friend Alannah McCready on the show. What's going on?
Hi, happy to be back.
Good to have you again too. And like I said, that's a mouthful of all those sponsors at the beginning too.
Many. We are here for we're here for the liquor.
We're here for the liquor, yes. And I tell people I love it, especially with the sinus infections, or like if you have a sore throat, you really can't go wrong with the sponsors and drinking whiskey or gin or bourbon or good stuff out there or vodka, you know?
The easy access.
Shop online. It's easy access, no doubt.
It clears you right up.
It does. And of course, our good friend Josh Ward coming out there, honkytonktexas.us, February 4th. If you find yourself in my area down here, great Texas dance floor, drink, dine, have a good time, dance out there. Josh Ward, one of the best. February 4th at honkytonktexas.us, Honky Tonk Texas Dance Hall in Silsbee, Texas, down here too. Hey, I tell you what, you've been busy and like a little bit of a break down in Florida. Tell me about how things are going as far as we all need the word recharge comes out a lot of times. Recharge the batteries. I did that when I had the vacation time, for Christmas, didn't do a lot of shows and had to kind of just get my mind right for the new year. Tell me how all that's going for you.
Yeah, I definitely needed it. Yeah, I'm down here in Florida right now. Kind of ran away for a few days to recharge myself. It was kind of a crazy last couple of months of 2022 with work and playing shows, which is all amazing stuff. And then I ended up having a little bit of a health issue. So I missed a few weeks of stuff and didn't really get a chance to sort of kind of take a step back and recharge before I jumped right back into all things work and music, because that's just how I roll. I don't tend to take time off. So I had a little bit of a lull this week of stuff for work. So I was like, let me step away, recharge, get my mind right, like you said, to start the year off strong and be ready to just hit the ground running when I come back. So I'm like, I already feel better. So
which is good. Yeah, and we all turn that corner. Tell me about New Year's. Everybody has these resolutions, and sometimes they're like, well, I'm 2 weeks in, now I give up, or I'm just got to get my mind right to go forward with them. Any made for you? And if so, kind of what were they?
It's so funny. I have this book that I write in every day. It sort of like helps me kind of have a routine and start my day. And it's like this book about being self-aware, and it asks you questions every day. And obviously on January 1st, the question was, what are your resolutions? And it's crazy to say, but one of my resolutions this year was to put myself first. So I don't necessarily tend to do that as much as I should, and just sort of make sure that every day I'm doing something that's beneficial for me and my career, personally, professionally. And it's hard. I'm a giver. So being available and putting other people before myself is what I tend to always do. And so my biggest resolution this year is to just put myself and my career and my mental health, my physical health, like just everything, all aspects of things that make my life go as a priority.
Which is good because we all need to do that. I'm with you on the same level. I tend not to do that. I've got my 3-year-old running around too. Of course, my wife and family and other obligations for business, music stuff, and a day job. And it all having to balance it. That's one of the toughest things to do. And I'm not a regular person that goes to the doctor. I'm not afraid to admit it. But I kind of want to do that too. And more exercise, more things.
You don't find out it's not fun?
Well, we drink too much here on the podcast. Which
there it is. Good. We don't want the doctors to be like, whoa.
Yeah, and you want to say your liver is still good, which is good out there. Now, I will say this: I got some great products, no doubt about it. So it helps get my mind right to where I need to relax and take the anxiety off too. But I love this EP, and I know it's been out for you guys. This May will be a year. You've built on something special here.
It's crazy. It's not a year, but I feel like it's
just last May. Yeah. But tell me about just working on the project, the steps, and all the work that goes into something like this, because it's never easy, whether it's an EP or a full-length album. And there's always good and bad, but there's more highlights, hopefully, too, right?
Oh, yeah. So this project, Back to Me, was the first project. I didn't even realize at the time, like when COVID hit and everything was closed and lockdowns and all that kind of stuff, I didn't realize that I hadn't released new music in 3 years at that time, which is crazy. And I was just so like tour focused, playing shows left and right on the road, weeks and weeks and weeks out of the year. And I feel like I was in such a groove doing that I was forgetting to write and release music and just kind of that whole aspect and part of being an artist. And so when lockdown hit and I was talking to Will and Sterling Gittens, and they're two of really good friends of mine, and they are a great duo of production and writing and singing and everything. And so I was like, hey, I want to do a project. Do you guys want to do it with me? I did it, the whole project, out of their studio in their house. And Will and I wrote all the songs, and Sterling produced them all. And the three of us created this little baby of mine that I'm so proud of. And I feel like this project is really the first time that I am exactly where I think I want to be as an artist. And not that previous projects weren't at all. They were just where I was in my career at that point. But I feel like Back to Me is exactly the vibe and the type of writing and music that I want to be synonymous with my name as an artist.
You did that, I think, with the song Something Like That to lead it off and kind of really set the tone for the album. Talk to me about, or walk me through the backstory of that, and really how that was kind of the one that was going to bring the rest of it alive, which it did.
Yeah, I feel like that one is well, it was the crazy part is the track listing is exactly the order that we wrote them, which was not planned. It just happened to work out so well that way that we're like, let's not change it. Something Like That is the first one that we wrote. It's the first song Will and I had ever written together. And we were just sitting in his kitchen on the floor, actually, and he was doing something dumb on the guitar that didn't make sense at all. And I was like, oh yeah, totally, or something like that. And we both like looked at each other, and it was like a light bulb, and we're like, that's the song. No idea what it's gonna be about yet, but that's the title. Like, that's it. And it sort of ended up just being a song about not people requiring the bare minimum, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like, if you can't, when you're dating, if you can't just simply be nice to me and not lie to me and spend some time with me, it's probably not going to work, because those things are the easiest things to give someone. And I feel like a lot of people think that they require all these super specific things in a partner or in a relationship. Oh, I need him to do this, 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 and this. But it's like, okay, well, please step back and just think of like the big things that make you happy, not all of these little things in between. And when you sort of umbrella it, it makes it seem kind of silly that you want all of these specific things. Like, just make me happy and spend some time with me, don't lie to me. Like, it's got to be that or something like that. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
No, it really set the tone, like I said, for the album too, and it's kind of cool how you guys wrote them in the order they appeared on the album itself, the EP. So I loved how that came out, and there's so much more on my own, and of course the title track, and then Can I Call, which I thought was a great run. A lot of spins for you guys out there on Spotify and some of the different streaming services. Got to take a quick time out though. Pay those bills here on the podcast. Otherwise, I get in trouble, which is out there. Bangtail Whiskey, thanks to those guys out there for being with us the past 3 years. Of course, our friends at Gentle Ben's Spirits. Guys, if you're looking for all that impurity to go away from a vodka, a gin, and a bourbon, man, it goes down smooth. It's gentleben.com. Put your order in there. Get a bottle sent to your door, and I tell you what, it's make the holidays, make the year come alive with Gentle Ben Spirits. And our friends over at Honky Tonk Texas, all three presenting sponsors of CRS 2023 live at the Omni Hotel. Will be there as the backstage pass at the Media Room March 13 to 15. And Alannah's going to be there with us. I bet you anything she'll be there at the Omni Hotel. She'll be sitting at the booth with broadcast live on Facebook out there here from all of us here at the Backstage Pass. Quick timeout. Also, a little teaser coming up here. One of my good buddies, Nashville recording artist Jacob Bryant, new song coming out called Circus with Chris Weaver on February the 3rd. We'll give you a little tease of that too. More with Alannah here on the show. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
We're back here. We're going to play the next one here too as well, which is Gentle Ben Spirits, folks. It's called the Persado process. I wanted to introduce it for the first time. Great way to get rid of those impurities of the drink here on the Backstage Pass. Gentle Ben vodka and bourbon, and of course their gin. Get it now at gentleben.com. Here's the Persado process. No more about that. Pre-save that now. My good friend Jacob Bryant, Chris Weaver coming out with a hell of a song called Circus on February 3rd, which is next week. The drop date there. Be on the lookout for that. Of course, out there, Chris Weaver is going to come on the show. Jacob, talk about it here hopefully in the next couple of weeks out there, and you guys can pre-save on their social media out there. Back here on the show again, presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, Gentle Ben Spirits, and of course out there, friends at Honky Tonk Texas with Alannah McCready here on the Backstage Pass. Chase Mitchell coming on tomorrow, next week, a full lineup of shows. Check it out on the socials. I know one of them is Stephanie Quayle coming by next week here on the Backstage Pass. Back to Me is out there across all the digital platforms for Alannah. It's been out there for a while. If you guys have not checked it out, one of the songs I wanted to talk about was Can I Call, because that really had a lot of spins. I mentioned it before the break. You guys did a lot of cool things with that, and it got the numbers. It changed the numbers on the plays on these streaming services. Tell me about Can I Call and the backstory.
It did. It's crazy. I think it just hit 300 on Spotify.
Not surprising.
Crazy. Yeah, and like all the people making videos on TikTok, it's like it's just so cool. Mm-hmm. Can I Call was the last song that we wrote. I kind of, since it was going to be an EP, I wanted to make sure that there was something on there that kind of represents who I am as an artist for each song. So like, that's why there's the mid-tempo feel good, the slow, really sad one. I always have to have an up-tempo girl power banger, obviously. That's just who I am. And then the last one, we knew we wanted it to be a duet. We just didn't know what it was going to be about. And we wrote Can I Call actually in Nashville. And Sterling, Will's brother, actually thought of the chorus kind of structure and a little bit of the lyrics in the shower, which is where you come up with your best lyrics, obviously. Where we all come up with our best songs. And he came out and we were like, that's the duet. And so Will and I wrote the rest of it. And it just it was obviously towards the end of COVID and everyone not being able to see people they loved. And we wanted to make something that was obviously about a long distance relationship, but also could be applied to any type of relationship. And we wanted to go along the lines of, it just means something else and means something different. There's something to be said to pick up a phone and call someone and hear their voice on the other end of the phone rather than a DM or a text or something, social media wise, actually hearing someone's voice and calling them and telling them that you miss them, that you love them. It just means so much more in our opinion. And so that's what we wanted to get across. And it was so awesome that everyone got that. And there's all the people making videos on social media of like, oh, I miss my fiance. But then there's also, oh, I miss a loved one who passed, or wish I could call them and stuff like that. And it's just so awesome to see kind of what we had in our heads, people like automatically getting it and using it for exactly what we wanted them to use it for. It's just so special to see.
Another special song was the second one, On My Own, which I love that one because you got a great way of putting your own spin on your own music. And like you said, you got to have that banger, which you did. And then the way you guys wrote those in succession too. Tell us a little bit of the backstory of that one.
Yeah, On My Own. It's I cry pretty much every time I sing that, which is like people probably think it's weird, but it just hits really close to home. And that's something that I always want to make sure is in my music too, is like everything that I'm writing is something I've either been through personally or that one of my friends has, or something like, something like that. There's puns are never endless. Puns are endless with that. But On My Own, when we were writing that, I'm like, it's that feeling of the social pressure of, okay, you're 30. Why aren't you married? That's a question I get all the time. I just turned 35 and I get all the time, when are you having kids? When are you getting married? I am working.
Yes. She's a working woman, no doubt.
I am working. And, and I will have that when it's my time, in my journey. But I feel like a lot of women hit a certain age, like in the song 30, and it's, it comes down to, I would rather be on my own than be in a, toxic relationship or situation that's not going to make me happy. And we're not in the business of settling.
Well, that's the way I feel sometimes too. It's kind of like, I guess in a way, I never thought I would get married, and then I turned 30, and when you least expect something to happen, it just kind of does. You don't put too much stock in it, I guess, in a way.
That's how it should be.
And then we're in a rush to have kids, and I just had my daughter, and a couple of years ago, and you look back, and it's just like, then when it happens, it happens. And I tell everybody, it was only 24 hours in a day, that, and there's not enough time to get stuff done. And I love to work. That's why I do so many of these shows, and I balance my careers, is because I'm just that kind of person. Whereas if you get my mind on a topic or something like that, I'm going to see it all the way through until it's done. Because I'm that kind of hardworking, driven person, blue collar American, just like you are too.
Yeah, me too. And I think it's like I'm a Capricorn, and so we're very like,
yeah, they're straight, narrow minded. Yes,
we are just
tunnel vision. Yes,
do the task, do the next task.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm also getting good now in these business now. I love it is multitasking, which is good out there too. I love that.
Yes.
Y'all also, the title track, tell us about that one too, because it really came to life too when it was, like you said, written in order, and it had the way the songs are written, not planned that way, but it did. The title track had a good feel to it. Back to Me.
Yeah, Back to Me. It's actually, Back to Me, I think, is my friend's favorite, just because they can really get some angst out on it. But Back to Me, we wrote that one because I always like to have something like that on my albums. I'm a big, female power, live in your, and And so I wanted to have one like that. And we were writing it, and Will was like, well, what's something that's, like kind of been similar for you that you want to like drive home? And I'm like, well, all my boyfriends have tried to come back at one point or another. So we're like, let's write something sassy about that. And so it just ended up being this like, you thought that grass was greener.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're going to come back to me, but it's too late. And again, it's like, we're not in the business of settling. So you just gotta, hope you had fun, because you're not coming back. I know you're going to try, but you can't do it. And I just love writing a song that can make girls just be like, yeah. Right. And we made it the title track. Well, I made it the title track just because it had been so long since I released music.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it could be like a double meaning, like Back to Me. Yeah, it is one of the songs on the album, but it also is sort of like getting back to myself with this project and getting back to me as an artist, since it had been so long. And I felt like it was a nice way to have like a double meaning for the title.
It did. I'm going to go back to your last album, Ricochet Heart. There's a couple I want to ask about off of there, too, including the title track. So we'll knock those down. Coming back from break, it is Alannah McCready on the Backstage Pass. And, of course, don't forget the new song from Jacob Bryant, Chris Weaver of the Chris Weaver Band's coming out February 3rd. It's called Circus. Looking forward to that. You'll get a little teaser of that here on the next break. And, of course, our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and Gentle Ben's Spirits and Honky Tonk Texas. More with Alannah McCready. It is the Backstage Pass as we count down to CRS 2023. Nashville, Tennessee. We'll be there March 13 to 15 at the Omni Hotel. Looking forward to it and hanging out with Alannah and having some of this great whiskey at Bangtail Whiskey and Gentle Ben's Spirit, vodka, gin, and, of course, their bourbon, which won an Ascot Award a couple of years ago for the best bourbon out there. Be sure and check it out. It goes down smooth at gentleben.com. Part of the Prosecco process, removing all the impurities from the drink and making it as smooth as possible. And I need some right now because timeout, throat's getting a little sore. Timeout here, Bangtail Whiskey, Gentle Ben's, and you'll catch Jacob Bryant's Circus song coming out February 3rd with Chris Weaver. More with Alannah McCready here. It is the Backstage Pass. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here with Alannah McCready on the show. Thanks to our sponsors again, Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out, bangtail.com. And, of course, out there at easyliquor.com. Also, Total Wine in Nashville. You can pick up a bottle there. And our friends at Gentle Ben's, the Prosecco spirits out there, Prosecco technology, changing the game. The vodka, gin, and bourbon industry out there, too. In the alcohol industry, we always say drink responsibly out there. You can pick up a bottle at gentleben.com. And our friends at Honky Tonk Texas, Josh Ward out there, February the 4th. Coming up next weekend out there for a big show, one of the best dance halls in Texas. Check them out, honkytonktexas.us. Back here with Alannah McCready. I want to go back to your last album, Ricochet Heart, Enemies with Benefits. Now, that's where let off. I would always use the other term. There was a movie, I know, Friends with Benefits, but now tell me where this idea of with enemies with benefits came from.
Very similar. Very similar, except for you just truly don't really like the person.
Mm-hmm.
It's we're PG-13.
We're whatever you want. It's your show. Whatever you want, girl. You say whatever. It's a podcast. Hey, I'm advertising great liquor on here, great whiskey, vodka, gin, and bourbon. Come on now. You can say whatever you want to say. Rated R.
It's friends with benefits, but you're not friends. Like you would never date this. You would never date that person. You're using them, and they're okay with it. But you like truly are not a huge fan of them.
Which it makes it. Listen to the song, you understand where it's coming
everyone
out there
has
too.
been there.
Yes, we have the title track too. Really, this was awesome. Again, you mentioned hadn't released that music until with the new EP out since last May, which we talked a lot about there with Back to Me. Let's talk about the title track, Ricochet Heart.
Yeah, I think Ricochet Heart came. Well, there's a reason I made it the title track as well, kind of similar to Back to Me. But my first album was Love Hangover, and so I felt like the Ricochet Heart album was sort of kind of like my comeback album emotionally. And so that's why I made Ricochet Heart the title track, sort of like you wish that your heart would come back. But I mean, it does, but not all in one piece. And so you can get through it. You're going to be okay, but you're just going to be a little bit different, which is fine because that means that you've grown and you know what you want, and just not all bad things and stay bad things.
Yeah, and again, with songs like you said, it's there. We've all been there. They do a great job of telling stories, and kind of those life lessons really come out in your music because you write everything from the heart. Tell me about co-writing. Is that something you enjoy?
Yes, I love doing co-writes. Actually, I kind of prefer them only because I love seeing other people's process of how they write and how they structure things. And, we all have the same, structure for songs, but seeing people's other artists' process and, how they think through different things. And I also like writing with other people, especially people that maybe a first time writing with, because you never know what someone's going to pull out of you or make you look at things a different way. And sometimes it's better if the person doesn't know you in a co-write to sort of be like, oh, because they're not afraid to be like, that wasn't great. Or, let's go this direction or, stuff like that. A lot of times when you write with friends, it can be a little bit different because they're like afraid to like make you mad or stuff like that. But but then on the other hand, doing the Back to Me album, Will and I know each other so well. He was able to be like, okay, but how would you really say that in real life? Because I know that's not how you would really say that. And so, like, for example, we were doing On My Own. He was like, how would you actually say that and be as sad as you were when that actually happens? He's like, I know that it's sadder than that. So it just kind of depends on the mood and the vibe of the write. But yeah, I love doing co-writes. I love working with other artists and just creating in general.
Which is a good thing, and I love the fact, and it showed on Ricochet Heart. It did the collaboration, the great songwriting, the way you tell a story in a song I love so much. The other one that stood out to me was they all stood out there. I'm listening to the album a lot over the holidays too, just to build a playlist and have some awesome stuff to listen to. Must Have Been Love. Tell me about that one.
Yes. Well, love sucks sometimes.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And, if you Must Have Been Love sort of like, I feel so crappy now, so I must have loved you. What you did to me made me feel like so deeply happy or sad, so I must have loved you. And it's sort of sometimes you don't realize that until things are over, when you're like, wow, I'm crushed. Okay, I didn't even realize it, but that must have been love. I must have loved that person because they were able to do this to me.
At some point, they came into my life, whether they came in or went out or whatever. There must have been that connection made somehow. No doubt.
And you're like,
I love that one.
Oh.
I'm with you on that too. I love that one too. That's what stood out in Ricochet Heart, no doubt too. Again, Back to Me is the latest EP out there. Tell me about now 23 before I get into rapid fire. I know there's new music on the horizon. I know that's probably your next step. I know there's probably some things ready in the can, ready to go, right?
Yeah. Definitely new music. We are also going to be doing, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this. I'm probably going to get yelled at by my publicist in a second, but we're going to do a video for On My Own, which I'm really excited about. That's going to be kind of the next one that we're going to, I feel like all of these songs on the EP deserve a little moment. And so I want to try and give as many of them as possible their little moment before we do new music. So the next one getting its moment is going to be On My Own. And so we're going to do a video for that, which I'm really excited for. It's going to be very sad, but it's going to be great. And then, yeah.
I was going to say every dog has its day. Every song has its day too.
Yes.
To shine. Yes.
Yes, it does. And I think that On My Own definitely deserves its day. So I'm going to try and give it its sad day. and then new music. Yes. There will be new music this year for sure.
Crisp, clean, coming out, great sound, ready for it. And 2023 to have some new stuff because I'm craving more. I know the audience is too. If I'm craving more, the audience is, and vice versa. So I
know, and I'm so excited for the new one.
New stuff coming. I'm ready for it. And On My Own deserves its own,
I'm really excited.
Entity. And of course, new songs after that too. And if each one of them come off that EP and have their little vibe, then that's a good thing
giving
too.
them all their little moment and then new stuff.
Yeah. Let it shine, no doubt. All right, tell me about this. With I do a little rapid fire holiday traditions this year. Obviously, you're spending some time in Florida. How was Christmas? Did you guys do the same stuff? Did you try something new? Tell me about that.
We are nothing if not our traditional. We had on my dad's side of the family, we're Irish and Norwegian. So my grandpa makes lutefisk every year, which is a fun thing that not many people probably even know what it is. But if you're Scandinavian in any way, shape, or form, you've had lutefisk. But it's a white fish.
Ooh, okay.
Not usually everyone's favorite, but my grandpa makes it really, really delicious. So we have lutefisk every year at Christmas for dinner. And then just my core family, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister-in-law, and now my nephew. We always spend Christmas Day together. And we always open one gift on Christmas Eve, which is maybe weird, but we cap our
tradition.
For some reason. Yeah, we started it one year and decided to keep doing it. And I just think it's so fun now that my nephew is old enough to kind of actually, do these kind of things with us. Like he got to actually open presents this year, and it was just, I'm like I'm so obsessed with him. So I'm really excited to see him experience those things every year and do those things with him.
Which is cool. I got to see her do her thing at 2.5, and she did her little gift thing. Every corner was full, and tell you the truth, it was a lot better than that 1-year-old Christmas. But at 2.5, the mind gets a little more creative, and they just keep building on everything. And she got every corner full. And just the other day, we're having pick it up, take it to your room. I'm not cleaning up after you. It's to start them early. Got to start them early.
Put all the pick up. Put it in the trash.
Do some maintenance. Yes. Put that in the trash. Take this outside. And the good thing is she's my daughter, Chloe, great helper. She's a great helper. She loves to pick up after herself. And they get sidetracked very easy. You know that too.
Well, it's squirrel, it's like.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. My nephew is a big, he's a big helper too. He likes to clean, which is great. He'll be in the car and he's wiping stuff. And my mom will just sort of slide him a little Clorox wipe, and then he'll just go to town.
Start wiping it down.
Yeah, and he loves to clean stuff. He literally got hit a broom and dustpan his size, and he goes to town. It's so cute.
That's what she's got to. No doubt. I love that. Yeah. They love to clean, and they're better them than me, and it's one of those big things. Let me do this one here because I love food, and I tell you just. We're going to try some new things in Nashville. We get up there. I did have Martin's Barbecue last year stuck out, which was amazing. But I got to get Kirsty to take me to some sushi. Any recommendations this year?
My favorite food.
Okay, there you go. Hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, sushi's my favorite food. I recently went to Blue Sushi. It's new by the Assembly Food Hall. It's like not in it, but in that same complex. I went there for my birthday dinner, and it was so good. But there's actually quite a few good sushi restaurants in Nashville. So Blue is the most recent one I went to. Virago is really good too.
Okay. All right.
I love sushi.
We're gonna have a night out for sushi in Nashville.
You should go to Virago then. Well, yeah, you should go to Virago then because they have like really nice, like it's a fun atmosphere. They have like cute cocktails and stuff like that.
Well, if you want to go, you're invited with me and Kirsty. Okay.
You had me at sushi.
We'll make it happen. And that's one of those after hour party things we get ourselves into, and whatever events we decide to attend or whatever live music we get out to that night, and network, socialize, hang out, drink some Gentle Ben's, drink some Bangtail, which is good out there too. So
also that whatever that advertisement is for how they make that is so like
it blows my mind the things that go into the systems that make this type of liqueur. It is. I
was like, that is so soothing.
Well, they're in with the Houston Rockets, the Houston Astros, our baseball and professional teams down here at Houston, and several Total Wines in the Houston area, and of course Specs and places like that. And they're doing some tasting events we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks, which is a really cool thing. And it's just a gentleben.com, and I'm glad you love that because I got more videos coming out of.
Oh my gosh, it was like the first time I played, I said, I'm like, this is so soothing.
It's a soothing thing with the music and everything out there, which is great. Hey, I love the music. I'm going to get you back when we come there for those dates in March. CRS 2023, you'll be a part of it. We're going to eat sushi. We're going to eat sushi with Back to Me, which is out there across all the digital platforms, streaming services. You guys can go check that out over there. Appreciate you always jumping on with us. You're one of our favorites, and you're welcome back anytime to promote the music. And always thanks for being a class act here and one of our favorites here on the show.
Oh, thank you so much. I love being with you guys.
You're always a fun. Alannah McCready here on the show. Tomorrow, Chase Mitchell. We're going to stop by next week. Stephanie Quayle. A whole lot more that I have just not wrapped my mind around that is booked. I know Dylan Carmichael, February 7th, coming here on the show, and we're going to see what's ahead over the next few weeks as we head into CRS, because those emails are already coming in. Thanks to our friends at Gentle Ben Spirits. Folks, again, like Alannah said, that Percedo technology, Percedo Spirits, they're removing all the impurities of the drink, and honestly, it's where you can raise a glass and you can take your time drinking it because it's so damn smooth. You watch whatever you want to watch and have a good time. We all work hard during the week, so let's end it on a great note and drink responsibly, and just drink good vodka, good gin, good bourbon. Gentle Ben Spirits. My friend Brandon Bing over at Bangtail Whiskey. If you like whiskey, bangtail.com or Easy Liquor. Good way to get that. Also, Total Wine in Nashville, and our friends at Honky Tonk Texas. We'll see you guys tomorrow with Chase Mitchell here on the Backstage Pass here. Of course, next week, full slate of shows. Keep it tuned to the socials out there, and go give her a like. Alannah McCready music on the socials out there too as well, and download Back to Me. Thanks so much. We'll see you guys on the show tomorrow about 4:00 here. And until then, take care. Thanks to all the work the sponsors do from the Backstage Pass YouTube channel and the sportsguyspodcast.com. We'll see you soon. Have a good